Stopping the practice of forced labor has become a key issue in U.S. China trade relations. The U.S. Congress and the Biden administration are increasing the pressure on U.S. companies to stop importing products from Xinjiang. CCP's persecution of the Uighurs and other Muslim minorities is beyond dispute and universally acknowledged by Western countries. The U.S. has steadily increased its efforts to stop the flow of products made by slave labor from China. Starting in January, the U.S. effectively banned the importation of Xinjiang cotton and tomatoes. In June, Biden blocked the import of certain materials used in solar panels from Xinjiang. In addition, the U.S. also sanctioned 5 Chinese companies in the solar panel industry, including Hoshine Silicon, the biggest producer in the region, and added them to the export blacklist. In addition to cotton and tomatoes, Xinjiang is also the main source of metallurgical-grade silicon, a key ingredient used in the construction of solar panels. The 5 Chinese companies are all linked to CCP's forced labor practices and violations of human rights in the region. According to the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. is considering more stringent measures against forced labor products coming out of Xinjiang. The paper expects Congress to pass legislation this year that will seek to ban all products from the region, unless the importers can prove their products are free of forced labor. Last month, the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act passed unanimously in the Senate and is now awaiting House approval. In 2020, the House of Representatives passed similar legislation with bipartisan support. As a key component against forced labor practices by the CCP, the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act would allocate more resources to U.S. Customs and Border Protection to strengthen inspections. During the current fiscal year, which started in October, CBP has seized 967 shipments at the border, most of them connected to Xinjiang cotton. This is 3 times the number of seizures from the previous year. Scott Nova, executive director of the Workers' Rights Consortium, applauded the legislation, saying, "The legislation would substantially enhance enforcement by the CBP that has significant implications for companies." The Biden administration is currently conducting a broad review of its trade policies with China. Recent developments indicate the prevention of forced labor is a key driver of U.S. policies towards China. On July 13th, the U.S. State Department issued the Xinjiang Supply Chain Business Advisory, which emphasized the heightened risk for businesses with supply chain and investment links to Xinjiang, and advised U.S. businesses to consider leaving the region. The statement reads in part, "Given the severity and extent of these abuses, businesses and individuals that do not exit supply chains, ventures, and/or investments connected to Xinjiang could run a high risk of violating U.S. law." The advisory also published a list of industries that are using forced labor that includes agriculture, food processing, cell phones, toys, cotton, and renewable energy. Catherine Tai, U.S. Trade Representative, said that the advisory demonstrates the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to ending forced labor around the world, especially in global supply chains. Tai added, "Our worker-centered trade policy will champion workers' rights and address unfair competition, especially when it is based on human exploitation." Furthermore, the U.S. is rallying its allies to step up the pressure against the CCP in the area of human rights abuses in Xinjiang. The EU, Canada, and the UK have all publicly condemned the CCP.